Assalamualaikum. Today we are Group 8 and we will be discussing about the concept of Hibah, gift in Islamic finance and law can contribute to economic development. First, we will be introducing ourselves. My name is Nur Atira, number matric 303923.
My name is Siti Nuralia binti Mukhtar and my matric number is 304073.
My name is Nur Hasmira binti Azhar. My matrix number is 304054.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Alia Patricia binti Islamic. My matric number is 307560.
My name is Siti Amira Syahira binti Muhammad Kamis. My number matric is 306284.
My name is Nur Atira, matric number 303923, and now I will be discussing about the introduction. First, the definition of Hibah. Hibah means a voluntary gift or transfer of ownership without compensation. It is recognized as legally in Islamic law or Sharia. Its purpose and the purpose and nature of Hibah. It is based on generosity and Hibah purpose and nature is based on generosity and altruism, not profit seeking. It reflects ethical and moral foundation of Islam. The application of Hibah in Islamic finance is it is used in saving accounts, takaful or Islamic insurance and wakaf management. It helps to avoid prohibited elements like riba, qara and masir. The contribution of Hibah to economic development is on wealth redistribution. It can reduce poverty and inequality. Second, financial inclusion. It encourages savings and asset sharing in communities. Third, wealth circulation. It ensures wealth doesn't stay stagnant or overly concentrated. Next, the role of Hibah in family and inheritance planning. It enables early asset transfer, avoiding disputes, and it also promotes transparency and harmony within families. Last, the overall impact of Hibah, it can strengthen social cohesion, supports ethical and sustainable economic growth, and it also aligns economic activity with Islamic moral principles.
Continue for the concept of gift in Islamic law. In Muslim law, a gift is called hibah. When one person gives or donates something to another, it is called hibah. This shows affection and care for the other person. The first essential of a valid hibah for a gift to be legally valid under Islamic law, there are three key conditions that must be met. The first is declaration by the donor. The donor must clearly express their intention to give their gift. Second, acceptance by the done. The recipient must accept the gift during the donor lifetime. Lastly, delivery of possession, which means the donor must transfer ownership either physically or constructively. There are also types of gift in Islamic law, which is recognize different forms of gift, including hibah bil iwas, which means a gift given in exchange for something of value. Next is hibah basyat ul iwas, a conditional gift where the done must fulfill a requirement. The third is sadaqah, a charitable gift given for religious merit. The fourth is ari'at, a temporary transfer of property for use without ownership. Lastly is musha. Musha is called irregular hibah, which means undivided share in a property, whether movable or immovable, when a property cannot be divided. A gift of its undivided share is valid, but if the property can be divided, a gift of its undivided share is invalid. Such as gift become irregular and can be corrected by separating the property.
Assalamualaikum, and I will continue with elements, condition and ruling of Hibah in Islamic law. The first is element of Hibah. The first is al-wahid, which is the donor of giver. asset without expecting any return. And the giver or donor must be sound of mind, mature, baligh, and have full ownership and authority over the gift property. And the second is al-mawhub lahu, which is the done and recipient. The person or party who receive the gift can be individual or an organization, and it must be eligible to own property and clearly identified. And the third is al-mawhub, which is the gift and subject to mature. The asset or property being given as the gift must be a lawful, halal, and valuable, and clearly honored by the donor at the time of the gift. And the lastly is the siwa, offer and accepted. And the formal expression of the gift through a clear offer by the donor and acceptance by the recipient can be made verbally, in writing, or through the clear action indicating the mutual consent. And the next is the condition for the donor in hibah, gift giving. The donor must be legal owner of the property. The donor must be the lawful owner of property being gifted. Only asset fully owned can be valid given as a hibah to the others. And the gift must be given voluntary and without the coercion, because the hibah must be made willing without any element of force, pressure, or coercion from other people. And the third is of sound mind. The donor must be mentally competent and capable of making clear, rational, and decision making. And have a mature age. The donor should have reached the age of maturity, which is baligh, and according to Islamic law. The legally capable of managing their property. Donor must have the legal ability to manage the dispose of their property responsible, for example, not under legal restrictions such as bankrupt or guardianship. And the next is condition of the recipient in hibah, gift giving. The recipient in hibah must be alive at the time the hibah is made. The recipient al-mawhub lahu must be alive at the time the hibah is made. The gift cannot be given to someone who is deceased, which is not alive. And the second is must be eligible of sufficient age to receive the gift. The recipient must be legally eligible to receive and own property. If the recipient is a minor or lacks legal capacity, the gift may be received on their behalf by a legal guardian or trustee. Next slide. The next slide, we talk about the condition for the gift property in hibah. The property must be permissible according to Sharia. Permissible according to Sharia, which means the property must be halal and lawful under Islamic law. Items that are haram, for example, is alcohol, gambling, drug, and related the asset cannot be given as hibah. The property must exist at the time of the offer and acceptance, ijab, and kabul. That means the gifted property must be physically or legally exist when the hibah contract is concluded, which or non-existent items are not valid for hibah. The property must have a value. The property must have a value because must have recognized the value. The property must have economic value and considered beneficial or usable according to the custom, uruf. And then lastly, the property must be honored by the donor. The donor must have full ownership and legal right over the property being given. Property that does not belong to the donor and cannot be gifted. And the next is condition for the hibah contract, akad hibah. This pronoun of offer, ijab, and acceptance, kabul. A valid hibah requires a clear declaration of offer by the donor and acceptance by the recipient. This can be done verbally, in writing, through action that clearly indicate mutual consent. And the contract must not be bound by a time condition, not temporary. The hibah must not be tied to any time-bound condition. For example, this gift is yours for 1 year, or make contingent or uncertain events. A hibah that is temporary or conditional of future events may be considered invalid under Islamic law. And the lastly is the ruling of hibah. The act of giving hibah is sunnah and encouraged
this part, I would like to talk about grant contribution to economic development. So here, I give for grant contribution to economic development. The first one is infrastructure improvement. Grant are used to build road, bridge, clean water system, electricity, and other basic facilities. This is good infrastructure, attract investor, facilitates trade, and increases productivity. Second, support for entrepreneur and SMEs. This is a grant to small and medium enterprise, that is we call SMEs, help expand businesses, create job, and generate income. For example, business grant for young or female entrepreneur. Third, investment in education and skill training. This is technical and vocational training program funded through grant improve the skill of the workforce. And I think this is a very important grant contribution. This also increase the marketability of worker and attract foreign investment. And the last grant is rural development and marginalized communities. This is grant used for poverty alleviation program, modern agriculture, and access to technology. It also increased the economic capabilities of rural communities and reduce inequality. But I will give to you guys 3 examples of grant contribution to economic development. The first one is Malaysia received grant from Japan and the EU from Sustainable Agriculture Project and Hibah training. Second one, African countries receive grant from the World Bank and IMF to develop health and education system. And the last example for grant contribution to economic development is the Asian Green Recovery Platform provide grant for a green economy after the COVID-19 pandemic.
Next is challenge in implementing Hibah in the modern economy. First challenge is conceptual confusion. It means many people still confuse Hibah with wasiat or faraid. For example, something that Hibah can only be given after death, when in fact it must be done during the lifetime of the giver. This misunderstanding often leads to disputes among family members, especially when the documentation is not clear. The second challenge is lack of awareness. It means the public is not fully aware of Hibah as a tool for estate planning. Most people only know about faraid, which distributes well after this, but they don't realize that Hibah can help prevent conflict and ensure assets are given according to their wishes while still alive. Next slide. The third challenge is documentation and legal process. Hibah requires proper legal documentation. For example, if someone wants to give a house to their child, they must go through legal procedure, including a lawyer and land office. This process can be expensive and time-consuming, which discourages people from using Hibah. Next is legal conflicts. In some countries like Malaysia, there are 2 systems, civil and Islamic law. Sometimes the civil court may not recognize a Hibah document, even if it follows Sharia principle. This makes it difficult for families to execute the Hibah after the giver passes away. The second last challenge is risk of misuse. It means Hibah can be misused if the giver is pressured by someone. For example, being forced to give all their assets to one child. This creates injustice among other heirs without clear intention and legal protection. Hibah might be abused. The last challenge is limited institutional support. That means there are not many institutions institution offering affordable, Sharia-compliant hibah service. Professional advice often comes at a high cost, which makes it difficult for low-income groups to benefit from proper estate planning using hibah. That's all from me.
Lastly, let's move to the end of our discussion, which is the conclusion to the concept of hibah gift in Islamic finance and law can contribute to economic development. In conclusion, the concept of hibah is more than a spiritual or moral act. It holds practical economic value that can contribute meaningfully to socio-economic development. As a financial mechanism rooted in Islamic law, hibah facilitates equitable wealth distribution, support financial accessibility, and fosters social cohesion. When applied strategically within the Islamic financial system, whether in family wealth planning, charitable endowments, wakaf, or financial institution purposes, hibah has the potential to reduce economic disparity and promote sustainable development. Emphasizing hibah as an instrument of ethical finance offer an alternative models that align financial growth with social justice, a vision that is central to the objective of the Sharia or Maqasid al-Sharia. So that's all from Group 8. Thank you.